after the dinner and that, we go outside, and she says to me, you want to come over for a glass of wine or something? I said, well, I got someone I'm going out with, but it didn't seem to bother her. She just walked in there like nothing. So then she called me up one time. I don't know why, telling me she might have to have an operation for something with cancer, I don't know. And I said to Andy, the nurse, I said, well, why is she calling me? She's going to be in Maine. So then, and the only reason I didn't go, they have
facing the wrong way?
Something to suck the blood out of you after the operation. It's called a Jackson Pratt. I forgot what it was called. So I was afraid to fly.
Turn it around.
So I called up
pushing it around.
Whoever it was, Spirit, told them my problem. And they said, send us some, that you had an operation. And they sent me transportation for 1 year for one person. Anybody could use it, so I didn't have to use it. But she just wanted me there, so then, as I said, I couldn't talk her out of it. I said, well, I got this girlfriend. It didn't bother her at all, Oh, come on over anyway.
No, just flip it the way it is.
So finally then I get to Maine, that's it. So, I don't even know her last name.
You gotta push it so it flips around, that's all.
So I get off the plane in Portland, Maine.
I know, it's confusing herself.
And she's not there. So I try to call her up. I don't think her phone was working, whatever the hell it was. I said, shit, I don't know her name. I don't know where the hell she lives. She's 75 miles from here. So I call up Annie, the nurse from Maine.
He won't get away, I think.
And I said, what am I guys? I said, do you have Ann's daughter's phone number? So I called up Patty. And I said, here I am. I don't know where the hell your mother is. I don't know your mother's last name. I don't know nothing. And she said, well, maybe something. Anyway, what happened was, when I got off, it's a small airport.
Without being there,
there's only one exit to go out. But she was down, like, instead of by Spirit, she was by the next airline. And she didn't see me.
Usually the link is...
Then her phone went out.
You gotta push it around and flip it around.
Anyway, her daughter told me, she says, well, if you don't hear from nothing, we'll figure out something. I'll get somebody to come and get you, because she was in New York. And then I saw Ann around the station there. I went to get a Coke, and everything worked out all right. But here I am, don't know her name, don't know what city she lives in. Crazy as hell. So then I start going there. But the problem with Maine is that it's pretty, but everything, you got to travel all over hell, to go anywhere. It ain't like Chicago, you go downtown, you go here or there. But this summer, Paulie rented a place right on the ocean almost, because she wanted all of her grandkids to come there and her kids, and like a last hurrah. And Ann and I went there and stayed there, and then her brother came there and the whole family, and it was really a nice place. It was nice. But once you've been to Portland, Maine, Booth Bay, and a few places, and Arcadia, I think, is a beautiful park, but everything is so far to travel through. Now, I like Portland. It's a good town. And it's something like Boston, something like Boston. It's really nice. It's a nice town. And then her daughter, how the hell did that work? One time she had to go to Boston for something, so she said, well, anyhow, we went there, and she had a room already. She had all kinds of points for it. And so we stayed there a couple of days, and then went to Maine. And even last year, I got off the airport in the smaller airport in New York. I can't think of what town it was in. Patty was there. We got off the plane, got in the car, and drove right to Maine from there. And then I came to Chicago, for South Carolina, and then, she came with me. So it worked out well. And then finally they figured out of getting rid of the house, for her and rent it out and take Bob, her son, says, I'll take care, I'll handle everything. You just forget everything. And she was very happy. It was very nerve-wracking on her, because she's collects all kinds of stuff. And we had a good summer, and that the trip was nice going to Ireland. As I said, I never planned on that. Just talking to Diane and said, yeah, I'll go. So here I am now. I don't know how many. Now, was it you that said that maybe they won't let me out of here? Could be.
That's how you see the doctor the next time.
Well, that's a month. I mean, I don't know why that. I don't know. I'll find out about that. But anyway, as long as I get the pass for Thanksgiving, then I'm happy with that. But I don't know, unless they see something in me that I don't know what it may be. I have no idea. Anyway, all these decisions will be made next week. Whether to leave here, go home, get hospice out there part-time, get a full-time caretaker. And as I say, there's a lawyer was telling Mary about somebody that took care of his mother or something. But caretakers are, I'm not going to say a dime a dozen, but there's a lot of people really need that job. And, you know, they have a place to live, car to drive, so they got to bathe you a little bit and cook for you. So it's, whatever happens, it's not going to be bad anyway. So now if you want to go down or wait till tomorrow, go down that list of certain things in certain years. But there isn't a hell of a lot much more to say. But that's a pretty chronological thing, the whole thing there. And, you know, I forget that being the age I am, that a lot of things that were around then aren't around anymore. You know, television is cheaper, rents are higher, salaries are better. Even working in the school board, that everything was done with steam. You know, all the engines were steam, everything was steam.
Right.
And shoveling the coal. And television was 2 or 3 programs, Howdy Doody and whatever some other crap was. I never was much interest. Then television used to go off at midnight. It had this red, white, and blue stuff on there. Yeah. And everything was black and white. And then when color came out, color was expensive, and it was tough to get the right color coordination all the time. But television is one product that's cheaper today than it was when it came out.
Yeah.
Now it's a little more now with all these new things they have on there. Well, that was another thing. When I got the insurance job, I bought this brand new 1959 Renault, whatever, Dolphin or Dope Fiend. My buddy called it a Dope Fiend. Car was $1,900. How'd I figure it out? $100 a pound or something like that. Now the car also came with a crank.
Wow.
So you could crank it up if you had it. It was just a little car, but they suggested, you have a car, so we kept that for a while until that got hit a couple times, I guess. And, because I was just, this magazine that Ann brought up called Reminisce, they had a picture of the car in there. And Jim Moran, the courtesy man, he starts selling the Renaults, and they were pretty good. He did such a big business with Courtesy Motors that took you almost a week to bring your car in to get something fixed. And he was a very good-looking man, very suave, very well polished.
Everybody hate me.
And then he came down here to Florida, and he took over he had like a monopoly. And I don't know what cars he had down here. I can't think of the car. But my sister, Carol, I don't know if she went out with one of his daughters or, knew one of the daughters or something. Or maybe a friend of the daughter. But he got very popular down here. He, as usual, they get too big for their britches. But he's got money in the hospital here, and he's giving a lot of money away. It just seems, I remember the name from Jim Moran, the courtesy man.
So what year was the car?
59.
I got it. Did you buy the car new?
Yeah. Any cars after that, we ended up buying from Uncle Herb. We'd have a car that he'd get rid of, and I'd buy it. Herb always had pretty good cars. We only ever had one new car. That was the Ford Escort. We bought that. And that's when Rosie made the classical remark that we go in to buy this car. I think Bobby, Rizza Ford, I think it was. So we go in to buy this car in the evening, and the car salesmen are all walking around. So after we leave, Rosie said, she said, those guys look like a bunch of vultures in there. Those were her exact words. So they gave me the key to the car. I drove it home. I had pretty good luck with it. Other than that, they were all used cars, except then the Dodge I bought from George. Or from, what's Midge's husband's name? They were going to buy a house, but they had to get rid of the car. Is that how that worked? Anyway, I bought that car. And then George had 2 cars. He wanted to sell one. payment schedule for me, and sending money every month on that. And then when this car died, then I bought the new car about 2-3 weeks later. In a way, I wish I would have looked around a little more, but I liked the van for the simple reason I can slide in and slide out. Like if you sit in the back seat of that red car you used to have that Katie drove,
Oh, yeah.
why hell, you'd come out of it with a broken back, you know? So I like the part of sliding in and sliding out. And the car's had pretty good service when I bought an extended warranty, and all in all, it's been a pretty good car. Chances are, I don't think I'll ever drive it again. In fact, I'm not even gonna take that chance. The car will be paid for. I think I owe $1,500. I'll end up giving it to Bobby anyway, so they got transportation, whatever it may be. It's not doing me no good. Or keep it as an extra car around the house. You know, if I get company insurance and all paid up and all that on it. But I think I'd be afraid to drive. I don't know why. So I don't like driving anyway.
Well, you can't see well enough now to drive.
Well, I'm not paying attention. That's what it was. The sight is there, but I wasn't doing enough observation of what I should be doing. But other than that, I can't, I'll think of a few more stories that were so many things your mother and I did that nobody else ever did, that they'll come back to me little by little. But everything's sort of in chronological order there of, you have information about Rosie. And then I tell people the story about you two, with you and your mother fighting. They give you 60 days to move out. So Tom took you. Man, they used to fight. I told her, I said, I come home from work and you're fighting with your mother. Now, when you're fighting with your mother, then I have to put up with it. I said, so you got to go. No two ways about it. You give her 60 or 90 days. Next thing I know, she says, I'm getting married. Oh, Christ. And with boyfriends and girlfriends, Kathy only ever went out with one person, Bob. Bobby never went out a hell of a lot. He was always working. Mm-hmm. Same with Frank. They all had them different jobs. And I never could figure out, your mother didn't dislike Bloom. I said, well, how in the hell can you dislike somebody who don't swear, the guy don't drink, he goes to church, he does this, give all these attributes. She says, well, she never went out with nobody else. I said, well, it's not your damn business, whatever the hell it was. I think that, and I don't know where she got these ideas, because I think they belong in the Moody Bible, and, she called them cults and all that, and they're religious like anybody else. And their family's fairly religious, and, in fact, that's what's going to kill Romney, too. But I couldn't figure it out. I says, how in the hell can you dislike Bob? I said, she didn't really dislike him. Because, he's quiet. Putting up with Kathleen ain't easy at times. She got her bad parts. And the best story I got with Kathleen was when Amanda was born. Your mother and I were up in the hospital. That's the time when they start letting you come in there. Here's this little baby here. The nurse comes in, and she's got her hand missing. So I think she was trying to demonstrate to Kathleen that you can't hurt these kids, bounce them around a little bit. But Kathy was shocked, that here's this baby, not even a week old, and this nurse without her arm bouncing this kid around. And then I don't think I was there for Raquel's birthday. I'm not sure. But that scared the hell out of Kathleen there for a while. But she wanted to let her know, that they're pliable. They're all right. They're not bad kids. And then with Mary, when Mary was born, I had a friend of mine, Ralph, owned a tavern, and he had never seen a baby. So we come out of the hospital with Mary, and she's got her, like a Santa suit on, right near Christmas. So I stopped by the tavern so Ralph could see the baby. He had never seen a small baby before. And then the doctors, the only reason they let Mary come home, because Lee had other kids, none of them were big, so they let her come home with her. And then, as time went on, well, when your mother started getting more involved, and I had more time with Mary. I wasn't working, 2 jobs at the time. A couple times we'd stop. She used to get out and pump the gas in zero weather. I'd be sitting there in the car, and Bobby, She said, I like to pump gas. So you want to go out and pump the gas? There it is. Go do it. And what had happened was, when I spent more time with her, we started going to Wags, where the hell was Wags at? Right near on Harlem Avenue anyway. It was like a restaurant, sort of. And she was putting on weight from eating all these damn Sundays and going to McDonald's and going here and going there. And Rosie wasn't much of a problem. Rosie was very scared of everything. When I wanted to teach her how to ride a bike, I'd have to tell her, you gotta pedal, you gotta pedal, you gotta pedal. We were on a paddle boat in Lincoln Park one time, the same thing, you gotta say pedal. And he had her all full of fears too. And, but they got, Rosie was always all right. As I say, she had a lot of fears when we did different things. And if I remember when Margaret died, when Rosie come to live with us, nobody was too happy because all the bedrooms had to be, rejuvenated and all this stuff. And in the end, it all worked out well. As I say, nobody knows any history of her father's side or whatever the hell there is. And I'm surprised, Ruth, sometimes I think Ruth is smarter than all of us. I just wish Ruth had a lot of money because she gives it all away anyway. And then when they took her to the doctor one time for, I don't know who was there, Kathy or you, instead of pretending she didn't know nothing, she's coming out with all these fancy answers. And her and Rosie have a sort of funny relationship, but I guess Brad and her get along good. And she come to live with us for a while, but couldn't work. She said she was going to retire. Shit, she didn't do nothing anyway. So then she went back with the Jewish family there, and she's been there ever since. I don't care what their arrangements are, what they do with her. They've kept her all these years. That's been and they asked for her too. They want her there. She was good with Rockola's, that is, or Rockola, whatever the hell his name is. But then she lived with Mary Jane for a while till Mary Jane died. Let's see, where the hell did she go from there now? Oh, that's right, she went with the Jewish family then. She was working for them then. And they are really practicing Jews. I mean, they're not, the phonies. They, no lights on Saturday or whatever. They follow all the rules. And the kids go to Israel. They come back and forth. And I don't know what their names are, but don't they own a little clothing store or some damn thing like that. But when Rosie came to Florida, she worked on this, there was a ship, used to park right by the house there. Something like the
Jungle Queen?
something like that, only smaller, but the thing went broke. But she had other jobs. Rosie always had, always found a job somewhere. But the hard part was your mother didn't want to leave the kids and grandkids. And that's when I said, well, it's not that bad of a deal. I said, but what's going to happen is this. I said, I'm going to quit work, and you're going to babysit. So you're going to babysit so the kids can go to work. I said, the whole thing don't make much sense anyway. I wish I'd have waited maybe another year or so before I would have moved to Florida. I would have had more benefits coming. I would have had 35 years or something where I could have collected all my sick time in cash instead of running it out. I had 140 or 50 days, something like that. So other than that, it all worked out real well. And I told Tammy, they used to get in their beefs. Your mother didn't like her going to karate and all this stuff. I told Tammy, I said, Tammy, I said, Loretta is the best friend you have in the whole world. I said, you just remember that. I said, because she's the one who wants you to do better, and that's the best friend you'll ever have. Then, it took me 5 or 6 years to sort of get her and her father finally back together. And it took another almost amount of time to get her to go to VA. I said, you got 4 years in the service. You're entitled to this. Well, we'll go next time. Finally, one day, I just drove in there and she signed the papers. But her father was very happy, because he'd call up and say, how they doing? And I don't remember him being at the wake. But he came to the wake because he thought Bobby and Tammy'd be there. But there was a guy there with a ponytail, I think. I think that was her father. I don't remember much about it. But he went there figuring, they'd be there. But he was at the wake. It's a pain in the ass, but that's all right. But I told her, I said, you can't live your life of something that happened 40 years ago or who did this. And I said, who in the hell do you think you are? I said, you're no angel. I said, you were married during the service and you did this and that. And as I say, he is a pain in the ass, but it's still her father. So then finally they got back together, and she sees him. They go visit now and then. And so that was one project that took a long time, but in the end it worked out. He helped him out a little bit. Her mother was squirrely anyway. I mean, there was something wrong with Gerda.
What did she do for a living?
Something in the medical field with records, I think, or something. Gerda was a good worker. She did good.
I thought Tammy told me she was a psychiatrist or something.
No, I think something to do with medical records. I'm not sure. She had a pretty good job. And then she doesn't talk to her sister, Dawn, and somehow within the last month or two, Raquel starts, through Facebook or something, talking to her about it. She said, I hope my mother, that's none of your mother's business. I said, that's your aunt. And she just hated the whole family. There was a couple of aunts they'd call up now and then wanting to see the kids, and Tammy's got a lot of hang-ups, a lot of them. And I don't know, she's going to have to go to work, no two ways about it. Because they sure ain't going to move in with me. And she's a good person, but she's a pain in the ass. She'll call me up at 7 o'clock in the morning here in the hospital. She went on. I said, I don't know what I'm going to be doing during the day. I get breakfast, I get this, I get that. And then when I got here, they came by the house, and I said, here's the keys to the car. I says, take the car. I said, you don't have a car. You got doctor appointments. I said, I'm not driving anyway, so just take the car and be happy. But John talked to him today in the hospital, I think. He said he might be getting out tomorrow. I'm not sure. But she's got a brother. I don't know when the hell the last time was she's seen her brother. You have to, yesterday's gone, over, done, forget it. You can't do nothing about it. You can't change it. Talk about it all you want. Got to take care of today. And as I say, he is a pain in the neck, but at least they got back together. Well, at the wedding, remember Gerda come to the wedding with, I'm trying to think of calling him Paladin. The guy had a cowboy hat like on or something. Some guy she picked up somewhere. I don't know what the hell it was. And she was a very ballsy person, too. They came into your house one time. She brought dogs over there or something. But basically, basically Gerda was pretty good. She had her own piece of property. And then she got sick. She was in the hospital. I don't know how they did it, but they sold some little piece of property she had somewhere, or they were going to sell it or something. And Gerda come out of it, like nothing happened. Everything was all right. As I say, Gerda, she had a lot of hang-ups in that. But, she owned her own place. Other than that, that's about it. If I think a few more stories, unless you got some more questions. But oh yes, and tell my grandkids, I got 4 things for them. Don't take drugs. Don't gain weight. Don't take drugs. Don't gain weight. What else that one? Drugs, weight. 3 things. Oh, don't smoke. That's it. Don't smoke. Don't take drugs. Don't gain weight. Well, since then, I've added one after watching some of these shows that I think everybody, I don't care how old you are, should go for a blood test every now and then. They're not expensive. They can find so much in you. And, but I said if you adhere to those 3 things, life will be, a little easier for you. But from watching Dr. Oz now and then, they got all these different things. But there's just so much in a blood test. I mean, they can find out almost anything in a blood test. That's what I keep telling Ryan all the time anyway. And then some of the stories with him, with them damn, who the hell were them comic book characters, or that he was involved with,
Wrestlers.
huh?
He was in the wrestling when he was young.
No, what was he had all these booklets of all these pictures of these guys,
The Pokemon
the
guy?
Pokemon, yeah, the Pokemon thing. And so one night I went to the show with Wes, I think Ryan, and somebody else, and they're naming off all these characters. I said, how the hell do you know all these people's names? They said, well, they were comic book characters. Like when we were kids, the only comic book characters you ever seen in a movie was Superman. They were serials. You know, you'd go to the show. On a Friday night, one of the shows would have a serial. Then you come back the next week and they show you another 10 minutes. Something to keep you going. And usually, we went to a show twice a week on Sunday, Friday night and Sunday. We'd go with a big group. And I think the show was 11 cents. And when we went to this one show, there was a candy factory where they made homemade candy. So we'd buy our popcorn there. I think it was a penny more, something like that. But your mother used to ask me, she said, well, how were you raised? And I said, well, I don't know. I said there was a set of rules. You came in at night when the lights went on for dinner. You had to work, make your own pay, do your way through school. And I said, and I tell my sister Pat this, that the mother that raised her is not the same mother that raised Carol, Tim, and I. Just an entirely different person, because then, after she kicked John out a couple times, her whole life was devoted to Pat. And they became friends, they traveled together. But, so consequently, between my brother and sister, we don't have this, what I do with John, because you can't, John's full of friendship, but it's like, if I talk to my sister on the phone, if it lasts more than a half a minute, that's a long time. If I talk to Tim, well, Tim has trouble with the Parkinson's. If it lasts more than a minute, that's the end of it. And then one day my mother made a remark to me that really surprised me. She said, they're only going to be kids once or something. And I said, what'd you just say? And even with my sister, as I say, my mother just, she had a different go on life. I guess she never had parents, and she didn't know how to let herself go. So consequently, that went off to like Tim and I, and then to Carol. There was no, but then, as I say, when Pat come along, it was a whole different story. After my father died.
When you used to go to the movies, Dad, what theater was it?
Well, there were 3 or 4 in the neighborhood. One was the Buckingham. That was on Clark and Buckingham almost. Then they had a cowboy theater called the Julian. And that was on Belmont near Sheffield. It was all cowboy movies there. And then there were 2 or 3 other shows that we switched going back and forth for, somewhere a little bigger than other. But at that time, every 4 or 5 blocks was a show. Everybody went to a movie. It was air conditioned. And as I say, I always had money. There were just rules in my house. You follow the rules, nobody's going to bother you. It's just that simple. If you got punished, maybe you had to stay in, whatever it was. Except for Tim. Tim was always punished. So what he would do, he'd walk around the house whistling. So finally my mother would kick him the hell out of there, And I don't even know if he ever finished first year of high school. He hated school. I mean, he hated school. But Tim always worked. He always had a job, and that's when I just got out of the Army. I was working I think I was working for the board, and he asked me if I could take a GED test for him. I said, well, I don't know, I can give it a shot. Because he had a sponsor, but you had to have a GED to get into trades. took the test, because I wasn't that far out of school. And I don't know if when I brought the paper up there, somebody made some remark. Whatever the hell it was, all went through. Then, one of the best things that happened with my brother John was that when his job got abolished, and then he went working at asbestos removal. So he could get back with the board, but he needed a GED. So Herb got him a GED. I don't know if he ever thought it. Whatever happened, he got it. And that was great. That gave him his job back, and he got all of his promotions were on his own. Because when I went to ask a favor for him from the union, and the guy says, "We did you a favor, didn't we?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, that's it." So everything he got with the school board, he earned, through good work. And a few letters were written about him. So he did real well. As I say, he's the happiest. He never thought he'd live this long anyway. And to have a family and that, he's just happy as hell. But his personality is different. He was kept up with the family more or less. And me being the oldest, I never had much to do with all that stuff. But he kept in good with cousins and this one's and that one, and some of them were his drug partners, whatever the hell they all did. So it worked out all right. But my mother threw him out. She couldn't keep him. She said, "I can't have you around this house, with a daughter around here." But that was good. Pat went to Immaculata, and then she went to college. And because my mother was a college graduate. And then Pat and Carol become very close, with their age difference. And everything worked out all right. John straightened out. And Tim always worked. But when he got that job with the trades, that was it. And he stayed there till he got hurt. But the three of us, did a little too much drinking, that's for sure. Tim's a lot of it came with the job. These people worked in the trades, they drank.
They drank at lunchtime and they drank.
Right. And there's no more drinking at all on the job. You better not get caught. And they all had tricks of how they used to bring drinks in with them, and half pints. But Tim loved the job, and then when he got hurt, their biggest, not problem was, they were thrown together at too young of an age, with him not working anymore. And he couldn't work. So here the two of them are around the house. He wants to go to work, and he can't work. And she hated Wisconsin. And so they put too much time in together. They had nothing else to do but fight after a while. And he was good with the kids. They liked it up in Wisconsin. He loved it up there. He could go hunting. But she hated it and still hates it. There's still the people from Chicago.
Tell the story about the time when Frank was little and you told him to take out the garbage.
Oh, I forgot about
I don't remember that one either. I remember it kind of.
Well, no, he took out the garbage, and I asked him, I says, put the garbage in the can, not on the outside of the can, and stomp it down because you can get more garbage in there. So I don't know what the hell happened. I said, pick them up, I said, put the garbage in the can, that's all.
Right, and you were bopping him up and down in the garbage can.
Yeah, that I do remember.
Well, the other one was we were in Florida, and we were in a trailer, looking at a trailer. And Frank's on one end of the trailer, and the other end looked like it was an open door. You could run right through there.
I remember that too.
So he ran right through the trailer, right into the goddamn door. Almost knocked his ass out.
Remember we were cleaning houses?
Yeah.
The guy was trying to mess with you.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He wanted to get paid. He was cleaning houses. He had me come with him. I don't know how old I was. We were done with what we were doing. I don't know if I did anything except screwing around, but he was done working and he wanted to get paid. The guy was like, well, real quick, Gus, clean the bathroom fixture. So he kind of went in and did that, and then the guy, you gotta do this too. He kept giving him more work over and above the original workload.
One day,
He had to go,
Frankie gave me a hand up on the roof on Berry. We were sealing the, what would you call it? You know, where each piece overlapped the other.
Shingles?
No, it was the, not shingles, the tar paper, like.
The coping's up the wall, right?
No, they're like the tar paper.
Yeah.
So it was leaking somewhere. So Frank says to me, you know, what would it cost to get this job done or something? So all I did was go along with a paintbrush. So we got all through, and he wanted to know if he could get $500 or something for the job, you know. That's what it saved. But the ball buster was when he stole my beer.
Oh, yeah, beer.
And I went out there. I said, there's a case of beer out on the porch. I'll have a nice drink. I go out there, nothing there.
Who took it? I did?
Yeah, you and your buddies, yeah.
Sarah?
Yeah?
Me and Sarah one time we were looking out for
And
beer.
Uncle John, at your wedding, I saved 1 can of beer for after the wedding. God damned if he didn't drink it. And what I wanted to tell you, between you and your... I for the life of me, I cannot understand the Democrats don't have a Rush Limbaugh or Limbo or have a station of their own and start throwing all this stuff back at you. Because the public is unaware.
Yeah, how about that article?
It's crazy. It don't make sense.
I know. You tell people they don't believe it, but the facts are there.
Yeah.
I have an article I brought Dad. It's upstairs on, like what's going on.
Why they won't vote for nothing, you know.
Yeah, what the reason is that...
Rush Limbaugh wrote it?
No.
But to begin, you know, when you read this stuff and see the tax breaks these companies get. So then I thought last week that they had Gingrich by the ass.
Right.
But they don't have him by the ass because the rest of them are doing it too.
Right.
So...
With all this insider trading.
Right, so they...
What's going on with that?
It's legal, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Right, but the guy that came out of there, the last guy after Gingrich, I thought his name is Hester. Anyway,
It is
the Hester. And he's made a fortune since he's been out of there. Bought a bunch of land, he got this and that, and but Gingrich did something wrong today. Something that, if I didn't see the whole thing, about, like, for example, in a school, get rid of the janitors and have one person let the kids do the work. Well, that's going back to child labor. You're taking away a job from a person, and you know, a kid shouldn't be going to school like with the nuns. We used to scrape up the marks on the floor and that. But that's going back to child labor. If he keeps sticking his foot in his mouth anyway. But the guy that they're going to hammer, if it's Romney, he's going to go through hell. Because I don't know if Mormons are Christians. I'm not sure. He said that they believe in Christ, they believe in it, but I don't think they're Christians. And their religious right, they're going to be right on his case on that.
Well, they believe in Jesus. They just believe that Jesus came and talked to John Smith,
right,
who was the first Mormon.
right.
So that's what they believe. And they believe that their head person, that changes all the time, but they believe that their head person communicates with Jesus. So.
I watched a short on that one time. You know, they send you out, they take you away from home for a couple of years and train you, and you got to go out recruiting people.
Right, for 2 years. That's what those boys that ride the bicycle.
And then they, like in Illinois, I think they got them out of Illinois, didn't they? They took over a whole town for a while. I think Illinois had them.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, they got them out.
Yeah. They went to Missouri.
But then they're...
They were kicked out of Missouri, so that's why...
But they're the big record keepers of everything.
Right.
And so he's going to have a tough time. I wish all these guys had some guts. If I was him, I don't know if his medication or if his plan worked or not, wherever the hell he's from. Whether it did or didn't, yeah, just come out and say, well, I tried it, it worked, or it didn't work. Forget about it then, you know?
Right.
And a big decision is going to be what comes out of the Supreme Court about the Obamacare, whatever it is. And I have a feeling that you have to pay Social Security to everybody. So what was wrong with making somebody, pay into the hospitalization plan. It's all big money. You get into it, like, that's what this guy Kane, Kane talks, but he don't understand Washington. You got to be an insider. And then there's insiders of the insiders.
We were watching a show today that said how much, on C-SPAN, that was saying how much money each of these candidates has raised so far. And Obama is close to $1 billion. $1 billion. Can you imagine? To spend politically on advertising and things like that. What a waste.
What a waste, yeah.
What a waste.
But
$1 billion?
$1 billion.
the only thing I'm really against is how anybody can sign a pledge that they're not going to do something. Now, you can argue back and forth, you can negotiate, but just to come out and say, I will not do this. What do we need you for? If the Democrats say, well, we're not going to touch Medicare and Social Security, and Republicans say we're not going to touch taxes, what are you going to do, just let the country fall apart?
Right.
I mean, these other countries are broke. We're not broke. We got money. It's just got to be distributed a little different. But I just cannot understand the little guy not knowing what the hell's going on.
Because they keep them pacified with television. They don't know what's going on because they watch TV.
Yeah, but you got, Fox News at night, which,
Yeah.
you got people watching it. So
Yeah, well, what kind of slant is that?
But the Democrats need something just the opposite, too.
Right.
And I do believe it'll never happen. When they have these debates, and when a commentator asks you a question, did you answer the question? Don't say, well, Ronald Reagan just said, whoa. Let's answer this first. I didn't ask you about Ronald Reagan. He's dead. But they're so skilled in doing this.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Well, how about Perry was at that talk just recently, and they asked him what he was going to do, and he said, well, I have 3 things I'm going to concentrate on when I get to be president. And one is health and education. The other one is something else. And then he was like, and the third, I forgot what that is.
He wanted to get rid of 3 departments or something like that.
He said, I forgot what the third is.
Now, here's the guy that's made a ton of money. From what I understand, his whole family works in Texas. And,
You own that phone, or you rent?
Huh?
No, it's my phone. No more.
It just says
Unlimited.
all governments are crooked in a way. They get too powerful.
Now they got a better phone. They just called me yesterday. I go, can I pay more?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go up there.
All right,
I'll call her up and tell her that. I don't know if I told a nurse came in, and I guess the nurse had her hand missing.
Yeah.
And what I think she wanted to convey was that these kids are tougher than what you think, and she's bouncing this kid around, and Kathleen didn't know what the hell to do.
Talk to who, Amanda wrong?
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Amanda. To show Kathy that she wouldn't break.
Right, that's right. She's not going to break. But with the wrist off of there, or the hand off of there.
Did you ever have pets when you were young?
I think we had a dog named Buster, Irish something, I don't know. I don't know for how long.
Can we pick up Park 430, Ashley? Park 430.
How old were you?
No, I don't remember. Probably before grammar school, I would guess. No, we never had any pets. Oh, another story. Now, this is a time thing.
Okay.
When we were kids, you took a bath 1 day a week. Everybody used the same bath water. So Carol, Tim, and I would all take a bath and all use the same water.
Why?
I don't know why. We had a hot water heater in the house, up there. But 1 day, everybody used the same water.
Was there a hot water heater in the kitchen?
Yeah, we had a hot water heater in the kitchen, yeah. And we had, originally, oil heat. Got an oil stove in the dining room and an oil stove and they were turned off every night. I don't know if it was to save money or for safety, whatever it was. And then when I got a little older, then I'd have to go, they had a shed built in the yard. I'd have to go down there and bring up 10 gallons of oil, throw it in each one.
You had a big tank down in the shed?
I think we had a 100-gallon tank or something like that.
Well, a truck would come and fill up everyone's oil?
Right, yeah. And then we went to space heaters. Same place. One space heater in the front room, one space heater in the the dining room. But at night, the bedrooms were cold. We're up on the 3rd floor, and there's no heat in the apartment. I don't know. I'd like to go into the building one time now and see what the hell it looks like in there. But I don't really understand the part of the bath 1 day a week, and all using the same water. I don't get that one.
Who got to go first?
I don't know who the hell went first.
The smartest one, whoever that was.
Yeah. Shit. But I forget because all that stuff isn't so far back for me. But none of this stuff was around. I mean, you never seen none of this stuff. That's the big difference with it all.
My aunt and uncle lived in a cold water flat.
Yeah.
They had a bathroom down the hall.
Well, we were lucky that my mother and her 2 brothers owned the building. So our rent was very cheap. I think the building was paid for. So that made it real nice.
What building was that?
Pardon?
838 Newport.
838 Newport.
This one by Silver.
Yeah. Nice building, and
Still standing?
in the end, my friend Jennings and I bought the building, and I don't know, we sold it after that, but
No, you told me last night that you and the guy we gave our cat to.
Jennings and I, we sold it to him,
Okay.
but Jennings and I bought it from my family. We sold it to Whittle. That was another thing. When I went to their wedding, Mary had been married, I don't know, a couple times, I don't know, and one day she took a liking to Bob. She said, I'm going to marry that guy. So we go to their house for a small little wedding. They lived on around Chicago Avenue or something. And out of a clear blue sky, I said, Mary, I said, the building that, we own, I said, there's a 6-room apartment in there on the 1st floor. And Bob looked as if to say, what the hell? Man, that first thing that morning, she called up. And she said, where's this apartment? And then she moved in there with the kids. And they kept it quite a while. I think I sold it to them for, I don't know, $20-some thousand or something. They sold it for 40, I think, somewhere around there. But she raised most of her family in there.
And our cat.
Yeah, right. But I told your mother, I says, we're going to get a phone call tomorrow morning. I says, that's going to be Mary on that phone. Pardon? Well, last time I seen her was at the wake. She still lives over on Kildare, one of them streets over there.
I seen her at the wake.
She's doing very well with Amway. She's been with Amway for a long, long time. She made a remark one time about when her husband, when Jamie quit drinking. She said, how the hell she said? She said that Jamie used to be just a drunken bum or something. She said, now he's just a bum or something like that. Some remark. Something happened with her and your mother. I don't know if something maybe with education. I'm not sure.
Yeah, something did happen.
Yeah. It was a funny thing, too. She went into service, and she had a baby. I don't know if they were married or not. And then Jamie came down to get her or something when he got out. And I think they got married. But I think he was jealous of her wanting to go to school, because she still had some of the GI Bill coming in. She wanted to learn more. So they raised, I think they had a couple kids, and she had that other one. And she had a piece of property way up in Haywood, Wisconsin, I think it was. And I never did, only saw her girlfriend Charlotte a couple times after the wedding. because she was the best, you know, the maid of honor, whatever the hell you call her. And she got into, her husband was a big drinker and an artist. He died, and she started drinking. Got real bad. She may still be drinking now.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't Charlotte's husband kill himself and then in a garbage can?
Well, I think he just deteriorated. You know, was drunk on the streets and that. And Pete had this artist mentality, you know. Your mother had a lot of...
Did they have a lot of kids? Like 4 or 5 kids?
Please pick up Park 430, Ashley, Park 430.
No, I don't think Charlotte... I think she only... I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe she only got 1 kid, I'm not sure. But her and Mickey are cousins.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. You know, then Mickey had it tough. When I first met your mother, her husband was a thief. And at that time, there was a police... Frank Pape was the guy's name. I guess you did something wrong. If he was around here, he'd shoot you. So I don't know if they robbed the jewel store or something. He got killed. And then, let me think now.
Oh, I didn't know Mickey then.
Huh?
Wasn't Mickey married to a fireman?
That's after this.
Oh, I didn't know
Originally,
about
she
that.
was married to, I can't think of his name.
Floor pick up Park
And,
430, second floor nurse, Park 430.
I don't know if they had a kid or not. But then, somehow or another, she had a daughter. Maybe she was married from, I don't know if that was her kid. And then when she married the fireman, I can't think of it, Rich Lambert,
Yep.
she married him. And he was a pretty big drinker, but he worked for the fire department. He always worked 2 jobs. He cleaned windows, very cheap. The type of guy, we went to go see Oklahoma. He'd bring his own beer right into the, you know, and he'd go to show. He was very cheap and all that.
When I was a kid, I'll never forget that. I was a kid, and when we used to go to Mickey's house and stuff as kids, and we went to Mickey's house, and I'll never forget it. Across her living room wall, Mickey had painted, and I didn't know what it meant. I was a little kid. She wrote, "Fuck you,
Yeah,
Rich."
because he wasn't painting the damn thing, you know.
Because he primed it or something, and then for a couple of years didn't paint it. So in big, giant letters, she wrote across the wall. Yep.
Then what happened, her daughter hung herself.
Right, who was my age.
And,
She was the same age as me.
Wow.
but then,
It was a stupid thing. She was at a party. She was 16. I still remember it. She was at a party. She was 16 years old. And she was supposed to be grounded, but she had snuck out. So her father went to the party and got her out of the party and brought her home. And of course she was mad as a wet hen. You know how 16-year-olds are. And she was throwing this big giant fit about it. And her mother said, "Go up to your room and cool off." And so she went upstairs and hung herself and died.
yeah, Mickey went through a lot of trials and tribulations. Then, finally, after the divorce, she bought this house, whatever the hell she did. They never move out of them neighborhoods, some people. Once the Polish get in somewhere, they don't go.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I never knew, till I met your mother, that Polish people were different. She used to tell me. Till I forgot, till I knew Stanley. And it's a different culture. Sometimes the woman handles the money and Mickey, for a girl as pretty as her, had the foulest mouth in the world. Jesus. But that whole neighborhood did. They all swore a lot, including your mother in the beginning. And because one time we went somewhere, and I got to tell you something or something. I don't know what she thought I was going to ask her. And I says, you got to watch your language around these people here. I said, they're not used to nobody like you. I said, you got to slow down a little bit.
Hard to believe that she had that wild side, because after she
because
doing all that.
I think she never was a teenager. Never. Never finished high school. And I think that when she finally got out a little bit on her own, she was just, a little wild with all that stuff. But actually, she had a sad life. She, when you pull all your teeth when you're a senior in high school, that's terrible. And yes, she did have the nerve to go back and get her GED. And when Dee Dee was born, I guess Bernie says, okay, one of you two is going to work. He said, I'm not going to be the only one working. Well, Margaret, she was happy as hell. But it was different then. You know, as I say, I was the first guy to marry a divorced woman with a kid. Well, I don't know how the hell it all worked, but that's how it worked.
Ooh, you never know what you're going to do.
Pardon?
I know. Look, I married my wife. I know.
Right, you never know what's going to happen. That's the difference. What I don't like, and your mother, one of the last things she said to me before she died, she says, you make sure you take care of Bradley like any other kid. She says, you make sure that kid's taken care of. I said, all right, Loretta, don't worry. And I don't understand hang-ups people have with some kid coming into your house, living with you from another marriage or something. It don't matter. You know, we're all human beings. What the hell's the goddamn difference?
You can't be hung up either way, though. You can't,
Pardon?
You can't be over...
No, but I mean, there are families that won't accept you.
Right.
You know, don't bring that kid up. Now, with Ruby, with my cousin Ruby, her husband got killed in the service. At about the same time her son was born. So, they were Italian. I guess the woman really, really bothered the hell out of her. So it was almost pulling her hair out of her head. So she said to Ruby, at that time, she said, please don't ever change that kid's name, to Delfino, which was the Italian name. And Ruby's mother and Ruby's mother-in-law, one was Italian and one was Irish. They hated each other. They talked. Then she'd say, the kid would stay there. She'd say, you'll be teaching that kid them Italian words. But then they got to be the best of friends. But when her husband got killed, everything that would have went to him through that family went to Patty Joe. Everything. He was just no questions, no nothing. And Ruby said, well, I never did have any idea of,
Now he's a judge. Or a retired judge.
No, he's still working at State's Attorney's office down and calls her up every day. Then when Ruby got remarried, then they sent the kid, I don't know where he went to grammar school. And then he went to Weber, I think. And then from Weber he went to Notre Dame.
They closed Weber.
Pardon?
Closed Weber.
Yeah.
You know that?
Did what? Oh, they closed a lot of shit. I think his father wanted him to go to Fenwick. And then Ruby didn't know that Weber was a Catholic school. Come home, I'm going to go to Weber. So what the hell is this Weber stuff? And then Ruby had a daughter after that. So they all got along well. But her son, when her son got married, his wife died. I don't know how old they were. And so nobody could ever marry this girl. He caters to her, you know what I mean? And then Ruby said, tell him, Lou, or Patty Joe, get married or something. He said, no, I can't do that. So some of the other grandkids got to be a little jealous. And they said, oh, well, I can't think of her name. She gets this, she gets that, she goes horseback riding. And Ruby said, she don't have a mother. So that shut them all up. And when she was born, when Ruby's grandchild was born, that's not what.
Ruby's daughter.
Yeah, Ruby quit her job to watch the kid.
Ruby lives down here, right? And back with John?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruby's in a home now.
Yeah, she's in the home now, though.
She's a go-getter.
But Ruby's daughter lives across the street from Kathy's old house.
Yeah.
In Donna's house. The house that was Donna's.
Oh.
Now, Ruby's daughter lives there. And it turns out that Donna is a cousin of theirs, which Kathy never knew.
But even when Ruby was going out with her husband before they were married, she never told her mother that he was Italian. I mean, people did strange things at that time.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with a lot of Italians, the only people the Italians were respectful of was the priest. The priest could be anything. Could be Irish, could be anything. And Then you got the other nationalities, the Greeks and the Italians, where sometimes they don't talk to each other, and all this ethnic stuff going on.
When you were growing up on Newport, who was your best friend?
Mostly through grammar school, Joe, the guy who was my best man, Porcello, Porcello. And Oswald lived right down the street. You ever what? Well, that was another thing with Kathy. When we went out to dinner, at Kathy's wedding or her reception, whatever the hell it was. So as soon as I forgot where it was, at some hall or some restaurant, I don't know. And as soon as we walked into that door, I said to your mother, I says, Kathleen got married. And she said, how do you know? I said, well, look who's here. I says, Bernie's here, we're here.
His parents were there.
Yeah. And then I guess Mrs. Special caught him anyway that, But I told her, I says, Kathleen got married. She said, how the hell do you know? I said, I know.
Yeah, that was a funny thing. What was your favorite food as a kid?
I don't know if I can really say. We had a variety every night. Fish on Friday. I don't really know if I had a real favorite one. The one thing I wouldn't eat was sauerkraut. I don't know why. In my house, you ate fast, or there'd be nothing left. There's no monkeying around. My father would just take your plate, throw everything onto his plate.
You wouldn't eat it fast enough?
Huh?
You wouldn't eat
Well, anything left over he would eat. There's nothing he wouldn't eat. Nothing.
What were your chores as a kid? Do you remember?
Told you, bringing the oil.
Yes. I don't know if it worked. One night you washed the dishes, another night you dried them, and another night you, whatever the hell you
Put
did.
them away?
Everybody did the dishes and all that. No favors with that. At that time, especially with my sister Carol, if you didn't eat your meal, they just left you there to finish the damn thing. So you're sitting there in the kitchen trying to get this stuff down. But see, these are things that were different at that time period. I don't think it had nothing to do with the war. It was just the way people were. You don't waste food, you eat it, and be happy you got it. But as I say, our big fortune was the point that we had a place to live that was all paid for.
What was your biggest thrill as a kid?